Are you worried about websites like Facebook or TikTok stealing your data? If you are, you might support the use of open source software over proprietary software, also known as closed source software. Software is the opposite of hardware. It's all the code that makes an operating system, website, or application be able to run on the hardware. If site states that open source software is software that has its code visible to the public. So how can code that can be scrutinized by anyone make software more secure, cost a company less money, and protect user data? That's what I'll be laying the framework for in my presentation. Some people try to say that because the code is visible to the public, that hackers can more easily find vulnerabilities. Those people don't take into consideration that maliciously exploiting a vulnerability in a system without permission is illegal and extremely hard to get away with modern technology. Most people would much rather just report a flaw instead of potentially going to jail or paying fines. Although, for this first point, let's assume that everyone on the internet is evil. Open source software doesn't actually make it easier to find bugs in the system. This is due to Kurt Hoff's principle. According to Crypto IT, August Kurthoffs came up with one of the most fundamental principles of cryptography. It must not be required to be kept secret, and it must be able to fall into enemy hands without inconvenience. Even if the code is not visible to the public, experts can narrow down how programmers went about creating it by simply fiddling with the product. There are a number of ways that programmers can go about creating the same feature, but that number is limited. Even if the code is not visible to the public, hackers are going to find vulnerabilities in a system if there is one. If site states that a disadvantage of closed source software is that there's a small team of people that work to fix a vulnerability once one is found. Companies can use help from the community to aid with fixing a vulnerability if they need to. Using the community's help can also aid with the financial cost of creating software. Running a business is expensive, especially if you have to pay for an entire team of testers to see if there's anything wrong with your code. Companies can outsource this task to the entire public by using bug bounties. There are websites out there like bugcrowd.com that allow businesses to post their scripts on the internet and offer a range of money for finding vulnerabilities. For example, BugCrowd has a bounty on its own website and will offer anywhere between $100 to $10,000 per vulnerability. So far, they've found 556 vulnerabilities using this method. This can save a company from paying a salary or hourly wage to an entire team of programmers. That would not at all be possible with closed source software. Small companies especially reap the rewards because they can use the help of a brand like BugCrowd to bring awareness to their software. Bug bounties are not the only financial benefit of using open source software, but they're definitely the biggest one. Great. Companies can use open source software to fix bugs faster and save money, but how can open source software protect user data? CryptoMater.org came up with a good analogy that really sums up exactly how O.S.S can do this. Would you rather take a drink from a total stranger or from someone who laid out all the ingredients right in front of you and then proceeded to make your drink? With open source software, users are able to see the code that collects and distributes their information. That code is going to be verified by thousands of users with programming knowledge, so it would be very difficult for a company to do anything suspicious with user data. NBC News pointed out that Meta has had a history of data privacy issues. They've done everything from mood manipulation experiments to willfully not revealing a data theft. Currently, users just have to trust that Meta is going to follow their privacy policy. But with open source software, users would actually be able to see if Meta is telling the truth or not. This doesn't just apply to Meta, it applies to other big tech companies like Microsoft or Apple. As you can see, there are a plethora of benefits that are offered to both the user and creator with open source software. Open source software can make software more secure, faster, cost a company less money, and protect user data. I think that closed source software has its fair share of benefits, but I think that the positives of open source software outweigh the positives of proprietary software. I also think that open source software can better promote the sharing of ideas and advance the growth of technology. Thank you.